Welcome back to Crypto Atlas, your daily source for crypto whale alerts, crypto market news, and DeFi gems. Today we've got not one, but two jaw-dropping Bitcoin whale transfers, both worth over $700 million each. And they might not be a coincidence. Then we'll connect the dots with fresh market signals, bullish October returns, liquidity trends, gold's sudden drop, a $95 million Bitcoin buy, and the Fed's upcoming rate cuts that could ignite a rally for the history books. Stick around. The data, timing, and sentiment are lining up perfectly. And by the end of this video, you'll see why the next few days could be massive for Bitcoin. So let's start with the first eye-opener. On October 26th at exactly 12:08 p.m., a transfer of 6,396 Bitcoin, that's roughly $726 million, moved out of Coinbase and into an unknown new wallet. When you see that new wallet tag, it usually means the coins aren't heading to an exchange to be sold. They're leaving one. That's typically a sign of long-term accumulation or cold storage, often by an institutional player. Then, not even 24 hours later, at 7:32 a.m. on October 27th, another identical transaction appears, the same 6,396 Bitcoin, but this time worth $737 million, once again from Coinbase to a different brand new wallet. Two massive transfers, same exact size, same exchange, back-to-back days. That's no random coincidence, that's precision. And when we see patterns like this, it often points to institutional level structuring, either part of an over-the-counter deal, internal cold storage redistribution, or even a coordinated transfer for a new fund or ETF custodian. If you combine the two transactions, that's 12,792 Bitcoin, worth nearly $1.5 billion, exiting Coinbase in just about 20 hours. This isn't retail money. This is whale territory, or more likely, corporate whales, the kind that move quietly and deliberately. When large amounts flow out of exchanges, it tightens available supply. That's often bullish because it signals fewer coins are available for sale on open markets. And when supply dries up while demand rises, well, you know what happens next. And before I continue, there's a crypto exchange called BTCC. I do have a referral link down in the description below. You can get a 10% deposit bonus, and that goes all the way up to $10,055. There's some other really cool features here, such as having up to 500x leverage. Again, you can find that link down in the description below. And also, I'm on Telegram, so if you guys want to stay updated, you can find my Telegram link down in the description too. Now, let's layer in what's happening around the same time. So according to Bitcoin Archive, Bitcoin's October returns have officially flipped green. Historically, October has been one of the most bullish months for Bitcoin, and we're just days away from November, which tends to kick off end-of-year rallies. Combine that with billion-dollar whales pulling coins off exchanges, that's an explosive setup. Think about it. Whales are positioning themselves ahead of the market turning green. They move first, everyone else reacts later. Then Ash Crypto adds another key insight. Bitcoin is mirroring global M2 liquidity. So if you're new to that term, M2 liquidity basically measures how much money is circulating in the global economy, cash, savings, and easily accessible funds. When global liquidity increases, it means more capital is flowing, and assets like Bitcoin usually pump. Ash points out that Bitcoin's chart is following that liquidity trend almost perfectly. And if that pattern continues, the next major move could be another upside rally. So when you see those whales moving coins right before liquidity expands, it's like watching the storm clouds gather before the thunder hits. Next up, from Vivek, he dropped this saying that someone just bought $95 million worth of Bitcoin. Right? So no specific wallet name. And with this, it times up perfectly with those two Coinbase withdrawals that we talked about earlier. So it could be connected, whether it's a fund loading up before the Fed's announcement or a single entity splitting their cold storage. One thing's clear, someone's betting heavy on Bitcoin right now. And every time we see aggressive buys like this, it tends to ripple across sentiment. Retail traders start paying attention, the media picks up the narrative, and before long, we've got a feedback loop of bullish momentum. And then later in the morning, Ash Crypto posted again, gold just dropped below $4,000, bullish for Bitcoin. This is another layer of confirmation. When traditional safe havens like gold dip, investors often rotate into higher beta assets, meaning ones with more upside potential. Bitcoin, being digital gold, tends to absorb that shift. It's like risk capital migrating from the old world to the new one. So gold down, liquidity up, whales accumulating, and October turning green, the narrative is aligning from all angles. Now let's talk macro, because this is the fuel behind everything. Kenny Nguyen had tweeted, the Fed will announce the next rate cuts next Wednesday, October 29th. That's huge. Rate cuts mean cheaper borrowing, more liquidity, and generally more appetite for risk assets, which includes crypto. When interest rates go down, money tends to flow out of the dollar and into stores of value like Bitcoin, stocks, and even altcoins. Historically, these policy shifts have triggered multi-month rallies, and this one might be timed perfectly for the end of the fourth quarter. And then, OX Nobler sums it all up in one viral tweet. Next week's schedule is insane. Monday, quarter ends. Tuesday, FOMC rate cut. Wednesday, Fed prints $1.5 trillion. Thursday, US-China deal. Friday, S&P 500 earnings. And Saturday, tariff deadline. If even half of that plays out, we're looking at the perfect storm for risk assets. Quantitative tightening ending, money printing resuming, rate cuts, global trade optimism, and major earnings reports all in 1 week? That's not normal. That's a setup for what could become the biggest bull run in modern crypto history. So here's some final thoughts. Let's go ahead and recap. Two identical 6,396 Bitcoin transfers left Coinbase. That's roughly $1.5 billion total. Bitcoin's October returns flipped green, signaling renewed momentum. Global M2 liquidity is rising, a historical tailwind for Bitcoin. A mystery buyer dropped $95 million on Bitcoin in one go. Gold is slipping, freeing up risk capital, and the Fed's next rate cut is days away, possibly alongside massive liquidity injections. So as you guys can see, things have been absolutely wild lately with crypto, and that definitely includes Bitcoin. And just taking a quick look at the price chart for Bitcoin, we are green on the day while I'm recording this, above $115,000. We are above that VWAP, but just barely. In fact, if anything, if this was to be continued out straight, I would actually say we're technically a little bit below it. But we also see that the Bollinger Bands have started to collapse back in. So the volatility itself at the moment is not as explosive as what we've been seeing recently, but that doesn't mean that we can't see some major push, especially as we are so close to the end of October, or as many people call it, Uptober. So we'll see how things continue to play out. Let me know what you guys think. Share your thoughts with us down in the comments below. And also you can find me on Blue Sky at Crypto Atlas. That is in the description. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters, as well as my YouTube members. God bless, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.